Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about health in its many realms, but I'm really going to focus on one, but I want to start with physical health first as our example. It's a metaphor to what I'm talking about. So when it comes to health, there's only a few things we really need to do to keep our bodies healthy. And then the body does most of the work itself. Like you've heard that, the body heals itself if it's given the proper, materials to do that. So when it comes to health, to stay healthy, we need to get enough rest, enough water, enough movement, and, proper nutrition. And of course, it doesn't hurt to do some things to keep your mind sharp as well. So I would say 5 major things that can, impact our health, our overall health, which are, again, our rest, hydration, nutrition, movement, and mental health. And so when we don't eat properly, that can affect our energy, also affect the way our body, maintains itself, because your body is making cells every day. It said that the body makes billions of cells per day. It said that the human body is composed of trillions of cells, and we're making cells every day. Perfect example would be everybody's had a haircut before, everybody's cut themselves before, you've clipped your nails. In each one of those cases, your hair grows back. If you cut your nails, they continue to grow. If you've cut yourself or hurt yourself in some kind of way, your body has healed. So the body is constantly healing. It's always making new cells. And so, when we give our body what it needs to do, it can do that easily. If we're eating, poor quality foods that have low nutritional value, if we're not getting enough rest, if we're not getting enough water, if we're not moving enough, all those things are going to affect the way our bodies function. And, that is part of our lifestyle, how we treat our body and our mind, of course, as well. So it's important to, maintain the body if you want to do certain things in life. It's important to eat, good healthy food. It's important to move. Movement can be, obviously, I don't know if you guys know this. Some of you guys might know because you've seen my videos before. Some of you guys might not know this, but I am a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for over 25 years. So when, for example, we talk about movement, is one aspect of physical fitness. So, when it comes to the body, you need to have a certain amount of stress placed on it, the musculoskeletal system, to maintain the strength and integrity of the musculoskeletal system. You need to stress your cardiovascular system to keep it, functioning at a high level. And so exercise to a certain degree of stress, but you don't necessarily have to lift weights. You can do things like yoga, tai chi, biking, swimming, basketball, roller skating, dancing. There's many ways to exercise. And that's really all I wanted to say about that, because this video is not really about exercise, although that is important. And I'll definitely talk about that more, and I've talked about that in the past. You can look at some other videos, such as Fit After 50, so on and so forth. But what I really want to talk about is, I was looking, at some stuff on Instagram, and I like to do videos and share information. So for me, I think when we're looking at information and taking it in, it should be enhancing. Some kind of way it should enhance you, whether it makes you more knowledgeable, whether it makes you more healthy, whether it makes you feel good, whether it, affords you an opportunity maybe to enhance your financial situation, but it should always be enhancing. Of course, you can do things that are pleasurable too, and that's enhancing as well. I just mentioned mental health, so you want to feel good as much as possible. So there's going to be times when we might not, be up all the time, but as much as possible, you should be feeling good, because that's what life is really all about. Which brings me to the point of this video. I don't know how many minutes that was of me getting to this point, but I think that was important anyway. But the point is, I saw some stuff that somebody was talking about, like, the last 2 years was some type of ritual. So we've heard of like symbols and rituals and, all these things that are used against people because they don't know that they're being used against them. And how does this tie into like nutrition and, health? Well, if your mind is healthy and to have a healthy mind, you're going to need to do certain things that keep your mind healthy, like expose your mind to the right types of environment. Just like to have a healthy body, you're going to do certain types of exercise and eat a certain way, get your rest, get your water to keep your mind healthy and not be affected by so-called symbolism and, rituals and all this other garbage. Because if you are, if your mind is healthy, then you already know the power of your mind. You already know that only things that can affect you are the things that you allow to affect you. I've mentioned this in the last video I did, in the video before that, when I said, we form what forms us. And so, for example, if you are in fear, then that's what's going to form you. You form fear, fear forms you. Unhealthy actions and thoughts, you form that forms you. If you believe in, the power of some sign or some symbol, or just listen to other people talk about how, they did this and they did that, and it's always about they, blah, blah, blah. All that is just selling out. To me, it's selling out. Because, when you are controlling, in charge of your own mind, and you know who you are and you know what you're capable of, and when I say know who you are and what you're capable of, I'm talking about the fact that you are a child of the Creator, which means you're capable of manifesting or producing whatever you desire to produce, and there's ways to do that, which I obviously wrote a book about that, which I'll put that in the description below. But the point is, again, it's all about your mind. And so when people are like spewing out this symbolism and these rituals, and they talk about how the crazy people that think they run the planet are like involved in all of these deep rituals and so on and so forth. They all bought into that. And us looking at them from the outside in, they look crazy to us, even though the fact that they think that they can like take over the world and things like that. You look at like I don't know, is that Austin Powers or some of the James Bond movies where the villains are like always trying to take over the world. But again, it's about a strong mind, because I've said this before in videos, the mind is what creates reality. And so I talked about how if you're exposed to negativity day in and day out, then that keeps your mind, engaged in that, and that's what's creating. The mind is creating. So if the mind is engaged in negativity and fear, that's what it's producing. But as I said a little bit earlier, when you go back to who you are and what you're capable of, you don't even have to entertain that type of stuff. So when you know what you're capable of, the power of your mind, and then that's what you focus on, then it doesn't matter what somebody else is saying, what somebody else is doing, or what somebody else is, whatever they're talking about has no bearing on you. It only has bearing on you when you allow it in to your energy field. And so, I talked about this. Obviously, I talk about a lot of stuff, and I'll continue to talk about it. But look, you get to decide what you expose yourself to. And that is important, because the mind is like receptive to what you expose it to a certain degree. But once you get to a certain level, then that stuff doesn't work. Yeah, we have our conditioning from our past, which once you realize this and understand that, the mechanisms of the mind, and they talk about triggers and certain things that might make you react or feel a certain way, but you still recognize it as a trigger, and you're dissolving those things so that you don't have those situations that can trigger you to be a way that you really prefer not to be. But again, once you realize and recognize and understand what's going on around you, then you can see right through it. And so when somebody's talking about, well, they're doing this or they're doing that, or the symbolism this or the ritual that, it's like, whatever. Spare me that mumbo jumbo. Tune into your power, tune into your source, the source of all, the Creator, and recognize that. Because to a certain degree, that's kind of like what they're doing anyway, but they're just spinning in another way. They're affecting what you think and what you believe, and so you're just you're generating what they want you to generate. What it boils down to. So you need to recognize that that's what's happening, and then you need to determine what it is you want to generate in your life, and that's what you need to expose yourself to, and that's what you need to focus on. So if it's health, mental health, spiritual health, then focus on that. And as I said earlier, you want to expose yourself to the things that enhance you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Those are the things that are important. I mean, we're only moving one of two directions. I don't think you can really stand still. So either like falling for their mumbo jumbo, or you're focused on yourself and moving yourself in the direction that you want to go in. And that should be based on what you want, not on what somebody else is saying is important, what somebody else should be doing. Even, the dire things like the price of gas and, the food, supposed food shortages. These are all things that are just being pumped out. It's pumped out, but, when it's all said and done, don't focus on that. Focus on ways that we can work around that. And I know we're not necessarily ones that are refining the gasoline and so on and so forth. But even that, there's information about that as well. I'm really not going to go into a whole lot about this, but I just say that, I've seen sources talk about how there is no gas shortage. It's just price gouging. And that's because you have certain psychopaths that are in control right now, but they're only in control because people allow that. That's a whole nother video. So what I want to focus on today is you focusing on your mind and creating, your reality, and not allowing, information in that doesn't help you to enhance, grow, expand, create. That's not good, and it's not something that you should be exposing yourself to. So if you find that you're not feeling good when you sit down and look at, I don't know, the news, the TV show, you're scrolling through your social media and you're looking at stuff that affects your energy in a negative way, then that's the type of stuff you need to push away from. And take charge of your mind. And just like, when you're feeding your body, you're deciding what you're going to eat. You decide what you're going to expose your mind to. You decide. And don't worry about what somebody else is talking about, because when you understand how this whole process works, then it'll be easier to navigate. But I'm gonna cut this video right here because I don't want it to be too long, and we'll talk about this a little bit more soon. So have a good rest of your day. Share the knowledge. Peace.